Hello, we are recording. Welcome, everyone. I am pulling up my screen right now. We are going to go through all things contest. If you have any questions as we go through our training, please type them into chat because I may have already incorporated that information into the presentation. As we go through, uh, adjust your screen accordingly so that you can clearly see the presentation I'm sharing and however you want to size me. My screen is set up right now that I cannot see any of you. That's why I want you to put it into the chat. We'll address them later on. Training it has already happened for our club level contest that was offered on November 13th. And those contests at our club level, they are underway. They're going to be wrapped up by January 15th. The training was offered at that club level so we could build that foundation for our club members to participate at that first level of the contest process. And then they have a better understanding as they may move forward to the area, division, and district levels. This means it is time for you, our district leaders. We're going to pump you up and get you trained. I am your personal trainer for the contest training. We are going to get you prepared to answer questions as your clubs ask them of you. And then you will either be prepared to answer that question or know where to go to get the answers. Speech contests. Hopefully we all know that the contests are an important part of our education program. They provide an opportunity for our Toastmaster members to gain speaking experience, as well as an opportunity to learn by observing proficient speakers. We're providing this training to our district officers because District 35, we want to ensure a fair speech contest and an enjoyable event for everyone involved. As district leaders, you probably are not going to memorize the speech contest rulebook, but you are expected to know how to locate the tools and resources that are needed to answer the questions and solve any challenges. It's important that your speech contests are conducted properly. Following the rules and being organized are important, as well as being knowledgeable about how each role in your contest works. And as Jason already mentioned, I will touch on some of those important changes to the contests that we need to be aware of this year. And we're going to have to make additional accommodations that we may not have had to deal with in the past. We've got a lot we're going to cover in the next hour. So let's jump on into it. But first, we have a pop quiz. Take yourselves off of mute if you want to just yell out some of your answers here. What are the various types of speech contests that are officially recognized by Toastmasters?
International.
Table topics.
International table topics. What else?
What is
Evaluation.
Tall Tales?
Tall tales.
Evaluation.
More.
Humorous.
Evaluation, humorous. What's the other one?
Table topics.
Nope, got that one already.
Oh, darn it.
All right, we're just missing the one, and that's all right because it's not one we participate in. So just so that everyone is aware, we have international evaluation, humorous, table topics, humorous, and then for undistricted clubs, a video channel or a video contest. All districts must hold the international speech contest, and each district can choose to hold up to an additional 3 contests. All right, we should all know this one. What are our 22-23 speech contests this year? Let me hear it.
Table topics. I'm sorry, Tall Tales and
Tall Tales.
International.
Tall Tales and International, yes. Real quick, our Tall Tales speech contest. This is a 3 to 5 minute speech. The subject for a Tall Tales speech, this is going to be a highly exaggerated, improbable nature, but it must have a theme or a plot. Contestants can choose to use humor. They can choose to use props to support or illustrate their speech. The Tall Tales progression of the winners. You start at the club, Go to area, division, and then district. That's the highest level of competition. Our international speech contest. This is a 5 to 7 minute speech. Contestants can choose any topic they wish to speak on, use any format, any style. Traditionally, it seems that those speakers that win and advance in this contest have some sort of emotional pull. There is a huge value, there's a great takeaway from these speeches. Humor and props, again, may be used, but it is not a requirement. International speech contest. They will continue the same as our tall tales: club, area, division, and district. At the district level, the first place winner for district, that video or their speech is recorded. The speeches are sent out to Toastmasters International, where all of the district level contestants are then judged in a region quarterfinals based on their recorded video from that district contest. Winner of the region quarterfinals advances to the semifinals, which a contestant can choose to participate either virtually or in person in the Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas, next August 2023. Winners of the semifinals continue to the final round, again in person or virtually. And then that person of that finals competition is the world champion of public speaking. Yes. Are we going to have a contestant? Are we going to have a champion once again, finally from District 35? Who knows? If you don't participate, you don't compete, you can't ever find out if you're going to win. All right, another question, pop quiz, shout them out. What are the benefits of having a speech contest?
See the proficient speakers.
Okay.
Challenge yourself.
Okay.
Grow.
All right.
Learn from
right,
more
good.
proficient speakers.
All right. These are the answers from the official Toastmasters info. You're gaining speaking experience if you are a participant. Contests provide an opportunity for members to meet their personal and their professional goals. Rhonda said this one: members of the audience can observe proficient speakers. Audience members learn about a variety of topics. As speakers progress, they are growing beyond their clubs. They can network and meet other contestants from around the world. Those of you who are organizing and conducting these contests, you're practicing serving in leadership roles, working in teams. Awareness of Toastmasters will spread in your community if you are using that as a PR opportunity, and visibility and your membership can also grow. All right, got another one here. What makes for a quality speech contest?
Fairness.
Fairness.
Great agenda.
Agenda, yes.
Participation.
Mm-hmm.
Following the rules.
All right. Well-trained contest chairs and judges. Planning, organization, knowing what's going on. Having interesting speeches from your contestants. Having a suitable location. This is something that will come up at our division level and the district level, because those are hybrid options. You do have to have a physical location that contestants can go to, or they can choose to meet virtually. And then using Toastmasters branded materials throughout the contest. All right, another one for you. As district leaders, what can our area and division directors do to help prepare for a successful speech contest?
Promote, promote, promote.
Ooh, I love it.
Plan.
Plan. All right, so plan. Sometimes you may, depending on how you decide to do this, plan a contest budget, plan your publicity. How are you going to get this promoted? Answer questions about the eligibility and the rules. You want to make sure that you are informing your judges, timers, and counters of their duties. Schedule your contest and the award ceremony. Keep the club and district contest schedules in mind. Organize your resources, and if you need, have a logistics committee or other committees that can help you with your contest. This is not a one-person job. Get help. Ask for help. Make sure that you are choosing fair and impartial judges. And of course, you're going to hear this ad nauseum from me. Know and abide the contest rules. All right. Last question for our pop quiz, the most important question. Everyone should be hollering out at the same exact time, the same exact question. Have you read the 2022-2023 speech contest rulebook?
Yes.
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 12 or
Everyone
13
should be
times.
saying, everyone should be saying yes. From my past experience, I have heard contestants, I have heard some of the functionaries say that they didn't know they were allowed to read the contest rulebook. They didn't know they were allowed to look at and review the contest judging ballots. We want to get rid of that idea in their head, that misconception. The speech contest rulebook is not a secret. Everyone should be reviewing it every year because there are always changes and updates every year to it. We are going to transition now into that speech contest rulebook. If you have questions, again, please type them into the chat. I'll either try to incorporate it into what I talk about, or I may have it already planned for later in the training. No matter the year, no matter the contest, always make sure you are using the most current contest rulebook that is provided by Toastmasters International and the most recent forms that are available. The forms do not necessarily change year to year. At the time of our recording today, December 10th, we are using the speech contest rulebook. It is for July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, and it has a revision date of June 2022. The picture on the front cover is Verity Price. She is a 2021 world champion of public speaking. Again, Speech Contest Rulebook is your ultimate resource for all contest-related issues. If you have additional questions that we are not able to answer today, headquarters will be the one to clarify. I am requesting, if you have questions that you want to send to TI about the contest, please, please, please send those questions to Jason Foyt first. If you are an area director, copy your division director in there as well. Jason should be the main contact point to get in touch with headquarters to get the answers and then disseminate it out to all of us back again. Doing this will make sure that we have a chain of command that we're following. And if you are, as an area director, you contact TI, TI will probably contact Jason to get some clarification or ask questions. If Jason is left out of the loop, that's not going to be a good situation. Make sure you encourage all of your contestants, all of your functionaries to read the rule book. All of you here today, you're helping to plan and run a contest, and you definitely need to make sure you've read that speech contest rule book. Share it with the world, or at least with all of your fellow Toastmasters. In the past, our contest chairs, it has been our tradition that the area director and the respective division director are their own contest chairs. They delegate out various tasks and responsibilities, including who's going to be their chief judge. And usually the contest chair will assign a contest Toastmaster or MC. Jason has already touched on this. This is one of our changes for this year. Contest chairs are not eligible to compete, obviously. And if you are competing in one contest, you are not eligible to be a contest chair or a contest Toastmaster of another contest. All contest chairs must be paid members. And candidates for elected district leader positions beginning July 1st are not eligible to serve as a contest official at any area, division, or district level. So if you have questions, talk with Jason personally offline. As your contest chair, whoever it is, get organized. I cannot stress this enough. You're going to have a little bit more limited pool this year on who you can draw from as your contest functionaries. If you have not already started planning your contests, get going now. Start coordinating your dates so nothing is overlapping. Division contests, they're going to be hybrid. That means travel could be involved. If you have 2 division contests on the same date and a person would want to attend in person, they may be limited on how they can assist. If you have something down in Milwaukee area, something in Stevens Point, can't physically get there anymore. As you get going and start getting everything pulled together, set your date, your time, location. Make sure you're reviewing the eligibility of all of your contestants. Make sure you are giving that rule book to all of the participants. Encourage them to read and form a committee to help you with all of this. I love using templates, using spreadsheets. I want everything all in one spot because if I write it on a piece of paper, I'm going to have 27 sheets of paper and I will lose them all throughout my house. I have a spreadsheet that I used last year because I was helping with quite a few of the contests. What is your area? What is the date of your contest? What is the time of your contest? Whoop. So you've got your area, your time, your date. Why is this not working here? I don't know. Anyway, who is your area director or who's in charge of this contest? Who is your contest chair? Get their name, get their email, get their phone number. It is so much easier to come and copy all of your emails down on their spreadsheet, highlight them, copy them, paste them into an email, than to try and find, again, that sheet of paper with their email on it. Oh, it's in this email, it's in this email. I got to keep pulling it together and looking. Don't waste your time. Put it all in here right away. All your functionary roles. What are all of your roles? Because you will have different numbers of functionaries for each contest. Area, you're going to have 5 judges, 2 timers, 2 ballot counters, tiebreaker judge. Who's going to hold that role? What's their contact information? Do you have all the paperwork collected from them if needed? Judges, you need your certificate of eligibility. Timers, you would not. Division, pretty much the same thing, other than you now have to have 7 judges, not 5. At the district level contest, you would have 7 judges and 3 ballot counters. There's a difference. I always plan for extras. I've got that on the spreadsheet here. 3 extra judges. You can always have more than the minimum because you don't want to find yourself in a situation the morning of your contest. Well, this judge had to back out because they're sick or whatever. Perfect. I mean, not perfect that they're sick and can't make it, but I've already got an extra judge. I don't have to worry about this. You should also be using a template for your contestants. Who is competing which contest? Are you going to be able to have 1 contestant or 2 contestants for your specific contest? Has each speaker completed their eligibility form and completed their bio sheet? Check them off. Tick, tick, tick. Yep, we got it, or no, we don't. Jason mentioned this before, and I'm going to reiterate. To be eligible to compete in any speech contest, a member must be a paid member of a club in the area, division, and district in which they are competing. The club needs to be in good standing. That means that the club has a minimum of 8 paid members. Contestants must maintain their eligibility at all levels of the contest. If at any level it's determined that a contestant was ineligible to compete at a previous level, boom, that contestant is disqualified. Even if that ineligibility was discovered at a later date and it's been corrected, they will be disqualified. This is something you want to keep in mind as we move towards the end of March for our renewal dues. If your contest is scheduled in early April, you're going to have to do some extra checking to make sure the contestants are paid and all your contest functionaries. All your contest functionaries also have to be paid and in good standing. In addition, if your contestants are going to compete in international speech contests, Jason talked about this, the contestants who you may have had in the past may not be eligible this year. They now have to have completed a level 1 and 2 in pathways or earn their DTM under the old education system. The only exception to this is if we have a charter member of a club that was chartered within a year from the contest, they do not need to meet this speech requirement. So we go far, they would be able to have members participate in this contest. Not all of your members will be eligible to compete. Again, if you are a current elected if you are a current elected or appointed position, you will not be able to compete right now. And if you are going to be a candidate for an elected position starting July 1, you cannot serve as any contest official. Let's start talking a little bit more with the contestants. All contestants, both contests, they need a certificate of eligibility and originality and their speech contestant form. They should be encouraged, and you as your area director or division director or contest chairs, save those forms and send them up to that next level of competition. Then all you have to do is update that date and level. Information that's used on these forms. This is going to be used for your contest Toastmaster with the person's name, their speech title. Your chief judge will be pulling information from these forms to put on their results and winner notification form. Contest Toastmaster will also use the info on the bio sheet to form questions during their interview. Encourage all contestants to submit the paperwork early or on time. Nothing worse than if you have to try and scramble 3 minutes during your contestant briefing to figure out their information. This is what the certification of eligibility and originality looks like, just like you have that. Lisa asked if the spreadsheet checklists will be available. Yes, they will be. All right, this is our speech contestant profile. Encourage your contestants to take the time to complete these profiles in full. These forms should, if the club is having a club contest, the form should be completed at that level and then it's submitted up. If they did not have a club contest, they just did a showcase, they randomly chose a contestant, they should be completing these for the area, division, and district levels. We want to make sure we have all the information necessary. Depending on if it's an area, division, or district level contest, your number of functionaries are going to differ. These are your normal contest functionaries. If we were having the evaluation contest, there would be one more functionary listed. That would be the test speaker. I just took it off this time. Your chief judge, your voting judge, judges, and your tie-breaking judge. All of them need to be a paid member for a minimum of 6 months. And that it may sound a little weird, but maybe they had been Toastmasters in the past. They had taken a year or 2 off of Toastmasters. They've come back. When they come back, they have to have been a paid member now for 6 months. To be that chief judge, voting judge, tiebreaker judge, they must have completed 6 speeches in the CC manual or earned levels 1 and 2 in any path. So this is a little bit different from the requirement that changed for our contestants. Members who joined Toastmasters prior to our pathways rollout in Region 5, this is where they can apply those speeches from the CC manual towards their eligibility. all your other contest functionaries, your timers, your ballot counters, etc., they still must be paid members of Toastmasters. Your contest Toastmaster, this is the MC of your event. They are going to welcome the audience, make them comfortable. They'll do a recap of what's going to happen in that contest. They will introduce all of the speakers. They will use a script if they so choose. We do have a script that is available, and we'll talk just briefly on that at the end of our session. Main responsibility of your contest Toastmaster is to conduct your contestants briefing prior to the contest, and then they will be interviewing the contestants at the contest as well. After all of the ballots have been collected for a contest and the chief judge and the ballot counters have left the room, that is when your contest Toastmaster will interview your contestants. Usually each contestant is asked which club they're representing and their club number, but lately it seems nobody seems to be remembering their club number. Then the contest Toastmaster will ask one or two questions from that contestant's profile sheet. That's why this form is so important to be completed. Plan only to spend about 2 to 3 minutes per contestant. If you have a larger number of contestants, maybe cut it down 1 to 2 minutes. Determine this ahead of time and ask your timer to keep that time and show the color cards as appropriate. At the end of that interview, you can present the contestant with their certificate of participation. If you are doing this virtually, you can do a screen share, show the certificate of participation. If it's in person, you would physically hand them this. If a contestant is competing in Tall Tales and International, do not interview them until all of the contests are done. You do not want to give a contestant extra time in front of the judges. They should only be interviewed after that second contest. Then they would get presented with both their certificates. Another option is you can hold all the contestant interviews at the end of both contests instead of doing them in between. A recommendation that kind of came up last year because I got a few people who were a little miffed at me because all of the contests I attended, I took pictures of the contestants and who the winners were, and I posted them out on our Facebook page. If I was not at that contest, most times it did not happen. And it kind of ended up, well, why did Kris not do this? My recommendation for a change this year, during this contestant interview, have someone assigned who's going to take the contestant's picture. If it's virtual, someone just needs to make sure they do that print screen, capture what's going on, paste it into a Word file or a PowerPoint. I do have a template and instructions how that can be done. After all of your interviews are done and completed, if your chief judge and ballot counters have not yet returned, you can engage the audience in some informal table topics. If you do this, though, keep in mind, do not call on anyone that's going to be running for an elected district position, and do not call on contestants from the other contest. No more extra speaking time. That can be viewed as favoritism. Your chief judge. Whew. During the planning of a speech contest, it is important for the chief judge to choose fair and impartial judges and then train those judges and your other contest officials, including your ballot counters, timers, and your tie-breaking judge. Issues that are related to judging usually come up with those lower levels of competition because of a lack of training. Many contest judges, they don't understand their role, and we have to make sure as the chief judge, even the contest chair overseeing everything, that this training is happening. I've seen this a few times. Well, we'll have a more in-depth judges training at the area level, but at that division level and district level, we don't really have to go into any detail. They know what to do. Please do not take this mindset. It may seem like overkill, repetition. I do it myself, but it's needed. Still go in through all of the training, because you will have judges who come in with an attitude, I've been doing this for 20 some years, I know what to do. Inevitably, it is those judges with that type of an attitude, their ballots are the ones disqualified. You will be, again, doing your judge's briefing, explain the roles, you verify your judge's eligibility to be a judge. If you are meeting in person, the chief judge will personally collect that timer's report and the tiebreaker judges. Can any of these be done simultaneous? One person serving two jobs. Ultimately, you should not have anyone holding two roles during, or two functionary roles at a contest. If absolutely cannot have, if you have not, you've tried every option possible, you cannot get enough people to help in these roles, you have to make a call. If you have somebody serving in two roles, will it be still a fair and impartial contest? You're trying to still be as consistent and follow the rule book as much as possible. All right, Chief Judge will be working with the ballot counters, and they will oversee the ballot counting. They are going to determine if there are any time disqualifications, and then they will give the reports back of who won back to your contest chair or contest toastmaster. If you are faced with this situation, Lisa, there you go. Reach out for help, talk with Jason, what can be done. All right, you are in your preparation, that judge's briefing. Again, you're selecting your judges. Make sure your judges are aware of your contest rules, the procedures, their responsibilities. The judge's briefing should happen in full before every contest. You should be reviewing each ballot during that briefing with the judges. Sometimes I've seen this one in the past too. Judges forget that there are two completely different ballots. Tall Tales and International, different judging criteria. They are different ballots. And if they are using the incorrect ballot, they are not properly judging the contestants. You will have to decide, depending on how your contest is organized, what is going to be your best way to collect ballots electronically, in person, how you're going to be doing this information. One question that had been submitted previously was a question on selecting judges. The contest rulebook says that there should be an equal number of judges from each club at an area contest, or an equal number of judges from an area at the division contest, and then an equal number of judges from each division at that district level. The district level is easy. 7 divisions, boom, 7 judges. That's the minimum requirement. We can run into issues because not all clubs will participate at the area contest. A club may have a contestant, but they're not sending any judges. A club may send judges, but no contestant. How is that going to be fair if you can get judges only from a couple of the clubs? You can choose judges that are outside of your area, your division, or your district. That is allowed as long as they meet the eligibility requirements. And you should always plan for more than a minimum number of judges that you need. At the end of that contest, that chief judge is going to review the time report, and they will be filling out the results form to give back to the contest chair or the contest toastmaster. The chief judge will mark yes or no if there was a time disqualification, and then they write down the winners' names, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place. Those winners are always announced in reverse order at the contest. There needs to be communication between that chief judge, the contest chair, contest toastmaster. Who is going to announce the winners of the respective contests? Always something to keep in mind. Speech contest winner certifications. This is optional. You have to discuss ahead of time if you are going to hand out certificates for first, second, and third place, or not give them out because we have trophies. If you are going to give the certificates out, who is going to complete them? Will it be the chief judge? Maybe it would be a ballot counter because they already know who the winners are. Is it going to be the contest chair? Need to talk, figure out what you want to do. As a best practice, if you are planning to give out these certificates, have your templates set up and print out, or if it's electronic, just you can use the electronic files. Make a first, second, and third place for tall tales for every single contestant. So if Mary Jane is competing in tall tales, Mary Jane first place tall tales, Mary Jane second place tall tales, Mary Jane third place tall tales. When you find out who the winner is, if it is, and then also Mary Jane, second place, third place for each of those two. Whoever is your winner, you just pull out those 3 specific certificates, throw away the extras. This way, everything looks nice, neat, tidy, professional. Or again, if you've decided, nope, I don't want to do this at all, that's fine as well. Chief Judge is going to record the ranking of all contestants, not just your first, second, and third place, but if your contest had 8 contestants, the Chief Judge will list all 8 contestants in order. They've got the ballot counter sheet. They know the order for everyone who was placed in that contest. If a contestant was disqualified for whatever reason, they should also be listed on this winner notification form, but after their name put down, they were disqualified. Then you would not necessarily have to put down their email and phone number because they would not be contacted in case of needing to come and compete. Okay, this sounded weird. So normally you have your winner, first place winner would advance, go to the next level. If that first level winner is not able to advance and cannot compete that day for whatever reason, the second place winner needs to be contacted. Oh, you're in, you're the one competing. If that second place winner cannot make it, now you go to the third place winner. Oh, can't make it, now we go to the fourth place. If that person cannot compete and now the only one left is someone who is disqualified, there will not be anyone going on to compete in that contest at the next level. These forms should be done within 1 to 2 days at most. Try and get this out within the next hour or 2 after your contest is done. Get that up to that next level right away. Area directors and your chief judges for the area level contest, division directors, and your chief judges at the division contest. Anytime when you're forwarding it up to your next level, please copy Jason on all of those communications. So an area director would normally send the form to the division director, also copy Jason. Our voting judges, real quick. The rules call for an equal number of judges from each judge in the area, minimum of 5 judges. Division contest, equal number of voting judges from each area in that division, or a minimum of 7 judges. Those judges do not have to be a member sorry, I'm saying this wrong. Your chief judge, your voting judges, and your tiebreaker judge, they cannot be a member of any club in which a contestant is a member. So if I'm a member of Cream City and I'm also a member of ABC Club, if the contestant ABC Club is competing and they're in a different division, I cannot be a judge, tiebreaker, or chief judge at that contest. So even though I'm not in the same area or division that they are representing, because I'm in another club with them, that would disqualify me. As much as possible, try and keep your judges anonymous. It's a little bit harder when you're at an in-person contest because the judge holds up their ballot and so you can see who they are. Judges should keep in mind, they do not evaluate contestants. They are judging. There's a difference. The judges are going to vote on the best speaker for that contest on that date by following the guidelines on each ballot. Each contest has different judging criteria, and each judge is going to have to determine their own first, second, and third place winner for each contest. Judges will fill out their certificate of eligibility, their code of ethics. This is a new form. It was revised in March of 2022. As during that judge's briefing, you'll review the eligibility on that form, what their code of ethics is, and then they will sign it, date it, all that fun stuff. The chief judge will collect all of these forms. And then at the end of the contest, maybe a week or two later, that chief judge will dispose of those forms. They don't need to be kept, but they should never be discarded at the actual location of a contest. Tiebreaker judge. This person will meet with the chief judge separately. They do not attend the judge's briefing. The tiebreaker judge will rank every single contestant. If you have 8 contestants, they will do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 8th place. The only time that this ballot should be opened and looked at is if there is a tie between contestants. Should not be looked at otherwise. All your contests, you should have 2 timers. If you are at an in-person contest, you're going to have 2 people probably sitting right next to each other. If you are virtual, they will be in different locations. Make sure your timers are communicating with one another. Your timer 1 is the person who will keep the official time. They will record it on the timer report sheet, give it to the chief judge. Your second timer is the one who will also time, but it is not the official time that is reported on the form, but they are the one who will change the color backgrounds or the timing lights. It's easier if they are in person because, I can just see my other timer. They've got the stopwatch. I can see that. They need to communicate a little bit more when they are presenting on screen. We have backgrounds available, nice, big, bold for the contestants to see for online. Timer for your first time, as you are competing, the contestants will simply see the timer background. When a contestant reaches their minimum target time, the timer will change it to green. I've added, so I think the initial timing cards just had the word green, yellow, red right up on the top, very tiny, to the right of the Toastmasters logo. I've made the wording much larger. One of the things that I've learned over the last year now is that people who are colorblind, they can't tell the difference between that green, yellow, red. Having the words on the screen makes that easier for them. Yellow stays up until your red comes up. When your red comes up, contestants have 30 seconds to stay within a qualified time. If they are going over that 30 seconds, you are not, as a timer, you are not to give any indication that they have gone over that extra 30 seconds. I have seen at in-person contests, the timer, they're really waving that red card to get the attention to tell that person, that contestant, to stop. Not allowed. I've also seen timers, and this is at in-person contests, and as we move back to some of those situations, they will flip the card up for about 3 seconds, put it down. That is an incorrect way to time. You put your color card up, it stays up for the entire minute till your next card comes out, and then you put your next color card up. Robert, for Yuri. Yuri has done an awesome job on this, and this is kind of where I've stolen some of these slides from. After each contestant is done, there is 1 minute of silence. This gives some quiet time for our judges to start to tally their votes and their thoughts for that specific speaker. Once all contestants have finished in the contest, we have silence until all ballots are collected. There is no time limitation for this part. I've been a chief judge at contests outside of our district, and I had one, I think it was down in Florida, that they're telling the judges they only have a maximum of 2 minutes. No, that is incorrect. Ballot counters at your area and division. Yes, I know I'm going too fast here. At your division contest, your area contest, there are 2 ballot counters. Your district level, now you have 3 ballot counters. If you are having a contest where you are collecting the ballots in person, the ballot counters would collect the ballots from the judges, except for that tiebreaker judge and also the timer report. The chief judge does that in person. If they are meeting in person or meeting online, they move to a new location. Each ballot counter, they get a tally sheet, and this can vary a little bit based on each individual chief judge. My personal recommendation is that each ballot counter gets their own form, makes it a little bit easier to verify and check the information. Sergeant at Arms, depending on the contest, their duties are going to vary. This year is going to be nice and easy because for both Tall Tales and international contests, the contestants remain in the same room for the entire time. If you have an in-person contest, you need to have a sergeant at arms who will be stationed at your exit doors to make sure that no one is allowed into the room or leaves the room while a speaker is speaking. During that minute of silence, you open up the door, people come in and out. Once the next contestant comes out, or comes up to begin, that door is closed. Nobody else can enter or leave the room again. If it is a virtual meeting, the sergeant at arms could potentially be added as an additional co-host or a tech master for that contest. They should have a list of the judges, the functionaries, and the contestants. Those would be the only ones that could be let back into the meeting during a speaker going on. Any other people who are trying to get into the contest, into the Zoom room, should be waited and not admitted until that minute of silence between speeches. We also recommend that you have a specific tech master or 2, someone who can help set up the online meeting. They're going to admit the people, the attendees. They should have that option. They should have the right, the responsibility. Hit the mute button for all attendees. They can assign and open up the breakout rooms for your judges briefing, contestant briefing, your ballot counter room, and then help with any additional technical questions that come up. This is probably going to be more for in-person contests at the division level. If you want, you can have additional committees helping you with your registration. If you want publicity, if you want refreshments, if you want a big party and theme, go for it. It is your option. There is no budget for a contest though, so keep that in mind. If you're getting all these refreshments, are you going to have attendees pay for it? Are you paying for it personally? You need to come up with that information on your own. Functionaries, keep it in mind that if you are a contestant, you cannot be a contestant in any other contest of the same type. This means if I'm competing in Tall Tales here in Eastern Division, I cannot be a functionary in a Tall Tales contest, even in another division or in another district. All functionaries must be paid members. We're not going to go into any details on the ballots. Your Tall Tales speech ballot, this is revision from October 2020. You are all invited to go and download that form. Jason has that on the district website under the contest materials. Review the information ahead of time. Your content, delivery, and language. Different numbers are assigned versus your international speech contest ballot. This is a revised ballot from October 2020, also available out on the district website. So you have content, delivery, and language. Language is worth 20 points on international, is only worth 15 on the Tall Tales. There are differences. I'm going to let Jason or Robert answer that one from Liz. All right. As you are looking at completed ballots, if you are having your contest, you're getting your information in person. Sometimes you have to balance collecting the ballots in person versus online. These are things that will have to be discussed as they come up. In-person ballots, the judge will complete and then tear off the bottom portion of the ballot, goes into an envelope, they hold it up for the ballot counter to collect. The top portion of a ballot, that's where all of the individual contestants, the scoring, all that information is listed. That does not get given to the chief judge or the ballot counters. That top portion of your ballot is taken home with the individual judges and destroyed at home. They should never be discarded on site. Completing the ballots, contestant names are going to be written for one name on first place, one name on second place, one name on third place. You will be given instructions if the chief judge is organizing a Google form, SurveyMonkey, whatever way for a virtual ballot collection though. After each contestant is done, a judge will have 1 minute to tally up their information for that specific speaker. After all contestants are done, you have time to complete as much as you want for finishing out and determining your first, second, third place winners. This is just a sample of what one option for a virtual contest ballot could look like. Type in your judge's name, first place, second place, third place contestant. The judge would put it in, type it in themselves. In-person ballots, and even it could happen on the virtual ballots as well. If you, as a judge, put two names on a line for a first, second, or third place contestant, that ballot is disqualified. If, as the judge, you write down a contestant's name, but then you put a written score after their name, that ballot is disqualified. If you are just kind of doodling and writing and da-da-da-da-da, this will happen more on the in-person ballots than the virtual. If there are the extra scribbles and notes, whatever, the ballot is disqualified. All right, we talked about disqualified ballots. Let's shift our perspective. Disqualifications and protests for the speech contestants. There are 5 different ways that a contestant can be disqualified. Number 1 is the eligibility of that contestant. For any contest, it doesn't matter. If a contestant is not a paid member in a club of good standing, they are not eligible to be competing. If it is the international contest, in addition to the payment portion of eligibility, if they have not completed level 1 and 2 or a DTM from prior to pathways, they are not eligible to compete. The final speech to complete a level 2 cannot be given at a contest. It has to have been done before. A contestant can be disqualified due to originality of their speech. If more than 25% of their speech is plagiarized, it's not original to the speaker, that contestant could be disqualified. And I should throw this in there. because I've had this happen. Judge, well, I heard the speaker give the speech 2 years ago. Well, the content, the sort, it is still original to the speaker, even if they have done it in the past. Plagiarizing is taking another person's information and putting it off as their own. Contestants should be citing their sources. If it's a quote, if it's the stats, if they're giving a lot of information. And yes, sometimes you don't know what the source is. If a contestant simply says, scrolling through Facebook the other day, I saw this wonderful quote, but I don't remember who it was from. Who verifies okay, you guys are going through those, fine. All right, next, disqualification. This is one that came up last year as a new option or new rule book. If a contestant references another contestant or that contestant's speech at the same contest of which they're competing, that is a disqualification. In prior years, it always seemed to be a pride for a contestant to go on the fly, change up their speech to incorporate comments from other speeches. Not happening anymore. So just always be aware. Don't try to incorporate another contestant's information into your speech. Your fourth disqualification is due to time. If a speaker is over time or under time. For tall tales, the disqualification will occur if the minimum time is less than 2 minutes, 30 seconds, or if they hit 5 minutes, 31 seconds. International disqualification will occur if minimum time is less than 4 minutes, 30 seconds, or if they hit the 7-minute, 31 seconds. The fifth disqualification, and this is a concern at the area and the higher levels, not at a club level. A contestant has missed the contestant briefing. The contest chair opens the contest, gives their introductory remarks, welcomes the dignitaries in the room, and then will introduce the contest Toastmaster. If that contestant arrives after the contest Toastmaster has been introduced, the contestant is disqualified to be a contestant. If the contestant misses the briefing, but they get into the contest before that contest Toastmaster has been introduced, they can compete, provided that all of their paperwork has already been submitted and been reviewed. This is why we have deadlines to submit the contestant eligibility form and profile sheet. We need to check their eligibility. We can't do that in just 35 seconds because they woke up late or whatever. If the contestant misses the briefing and your second place contestant is there from that prior level contest, that second level winner should be attending the briefing and be prepared to speak. Those are the 5 disqualifications. You can protest saying, oh, there's concerns, there's issues here. The chief judge, contest chair, voting judges, and your contestants are the only ones that can protest a contestant. So your judges and your contestants, they need to raise their issue, give their concern to your chief judge, your contest chair, before your contest is adjourned. After winners are announced, no other changes can be done. At a judge's briefing, the chief judge will share specifically how they will accept protests from a judge or the contestant during the contestant briefing. Protests are limited based on eligibility of a contestant, the originality of their speech, and if they are referencing another contestant or their speech. The contest chair can automatically disqualify a contestant on eligibility. Before a contestant can be disqualified on originality or referencing another contestant's speech, that contestant needs to be given the opportunity to respond to all of the judges about it. The chief judge will bring the contestant in question and the voting judges together into a separate room. talk about the issue. Here's what the concern is. Contestant addresses it, is asked to leave the room, and then the judges will make a decision. Will we disqualify the contestant or not? All decisions of those voting judges are going to be final. Ballot counters, when you go into the separate room after a contest, you are given your tally sheets. The chief judge will normally work with the ballot counters at that time. They would basically give you the name of the judge and then the total score for each contestant. You tally it up on the bottom, determine your winners. Briefings are allowed online in order to facilitate more scheduling options for a more thorough briefing. If you guys are concerned that the time that is planned, because most of the timing that I've seen, you're planning for a half hour, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it is, the day of the contest, right before the contest begins. Sometimes that doesn't always allow for enough time. Now you end up going over time. If you want, you can choose to schedule your briefing online a day or two prior to your contest. That way, then you definitely will have enough time to answer any questions that come up. If you are having an in-person contest, or if it's that hybrid contest, and you do an online briefing the day or two before your contest, you will still want to plan time for an in-person shorter briefing, because you want to make sure that there are no last-minute questions. You want to make sure everyone's technology is working properly. Judges need to make sure they can submit their ballot. If the competition is in person, contestants are allowed time to be on the actual stage. They need to know what their speaking area is, especially at the district level. You're recording, they have to stay within a certain set area this time so that they remain on camera. So keep that in mind, keep that in the back of your heads. All right. Biggest thing, successful contests, it's all about the planning and the teamwork. This is where you are going to put your communication and leadership skills to work. If you have questions, reach out to me, reach out to Jason. If you're an area director, reach out to your division director. We will work with you to make sure that you are properly following all of the rules, and we have everything set in place for you to have a fantastic contest. Whew. All right. I know that there have been a ton of questions that have been placed in the chat box. I'm going to go through, see what has been addressed or not addressed. If you have more questions, put them in the chat box. I'm going to compile all of that offline and then send back answers to Jason so we can get this shared for everyone so we can keep on time. And I know I'm a couple minutes late here. All right. Thank you for your time and attention, everyone. This is going to be a wonderful contest season. I am eligible to be a contest functionary for your contest, so keep that in mind if you want, if I'm available. Back to you, Jason or Jennifer. I'm not sure who to turn it back to.
I'll just say thank you very much, Kris, for your wonderful presentation today, and great work, everybody. Great questions in the chat. If you do have more, please do drop them for Kris to answer. And as you have questions, please do reach out to myself, Kris, Chief Judge Judy Bauer, and Teresa Flynn is also helping us with contest questions for additional help. Please ask is the thing. If you wonder, ask. We can help you. So thank you very much. And back to you, Jennifer.